Can you hear me now? 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 Why is it muted? Hello, here we go. Yes, yes, yes. Is this thing on? Is this thing on? From the top, we've got some breaking news in the case of 9-year-old Melodee Buzzard. For those of you who don't know the story, Melodee's mom, Ashlee, you can see in the photo next to me, when she's wearing the Whitney Houston Cher wig with her daughter, Melodee, who's in a gray hoodie, who's also wearing a wig at that moment. They're renting a car in Santa Barbara County, California. She then drives east to Nebraska, down to Kansas, then drives back west, goes through northern Arizona, ends up back home. She leaves with Melodee. She comes home without Melodee, but she won't talk. She says nothing, absolutely nothing, won't answer any questions, providing no information about where her daughter is. So then what happens? She gets arrested. She gets arrested for false imprisonment, a case described as unrelated to this, although it is sort of related, unrelated to this. And she was in court today. She was in custody, which means that they're putting the pressure on her to try to get her to provide information, perhaps to cut a deal. Where is Melodee? Where is Melodee? Tell us where your daughter is. She went in front of the judge. Charges of false imprisonment, an allegation of using a box cutter to prevent someone from leaving her home, who eventually got out. Judge is setting her free. Judge is setting her free. Now, in a vacuum, probably the right call, but we're not in a vacuum, but we are in California. So the judge had ordered her released from custody, which means now whatever sort of leverage prosecutors had while she was in custody is gone. There is still some leverage in that she is charged. But this is a woman who has issues, to say the least. But she did take actual steps to disguise herself, disguise her daughter. When she's on the road, she's changing license plates. She's doing a lot of things to deceive the public. And then when it comes time to talk, she says nothing. Now, we all know in our system of justice, you don't have to say anything, right? You don't have to say anything. What you say can and will be used against you. However, when you're a parent and you have sole custody of a child and you had custody, control of that child, and the child is nowhere to be found, at some point you are going to be compelled to speak or face consequences for not speaking. But that part of the case has not happened. The folks in California have not done that. The charges were unrelated, but sort of related. So I just want you to know, tonight, 8 o'clock, obviously, this is our lead story on closing arguments with Vinnie Politian. We'll have a lot more details. We'll show you the hearing. We'll show you what happened. Here you get a sneak peek of what she looks like. The other day I asked, I think it was on Facebook, I said, some people are questioning whether or not she was wearing a wig. Question answered today in court. It's the same ballpark of color hair. But one's a wig, which she wore as a disguise. One is not. It's an important fact of the case. I'm not just being catty about it. It's an important fact because the wig is used as a way to disguise her and her daughter from being seen, from being spotted. Although you wear this wild wig that she had on, that makes it easier to get spotted. I told you she has issues. But at this point, whatever her game is, she's winning because she has not been compelled to talk. The greatest pressure that you could possibly put on her is not on her. She is not being held. The other reason I wanted her held, because perhaps she would get some level of mental health examination, mental health evaluation and perhaps help that would lead her to a place where she would come to her senses and let the world know where Melodee is if she needs help. Now, right now, I'd like to say hello to everyone on Facebook, my YouTube, my Twitch and X, and also on the Court TV YouTube channel. Great to have you aboard. Again, there's not a lot of lead time in my live streams. They just seem to happen. There's not lead time for me, for you. There's no lead time for the mods who jump on last minute. So all that's appreciated, the folks who can show up. All right. Folks, I got someone at the doorbell. 1 second. He's picking up some medical equipment that I was using for my knee. I just have to respond to him. 1 second. Yeah. Okay, my doorbell's not working in the back. I sent him to the front. Okay. It's complicated. Like, that's why I can barely jump on here, right? I'm rehabbing my knee. So I've got physical therapy sessions every other day. Got a lot going on right now. Anyhow, so tonight, 8 o'clock, much more detail here, but let's talk about this because there's a lot of troubling parts of this, right? There's a 9-year-old girl who's missing, and she very well could be alive. And I say that because of the mom. Like, she's so off. Like, she's so off that I don't know what she did. Like, there was no reason. There was no incentive for her. She does not gain anything by getting rid of her daughter, right? By ending her life. Like, there's nothing like that. I don't understand. There's financial stressors in the home. I don't even know what she does for work. I don't know if she's on disability. To me, that's not clear. She doesn't have great credit. She's been sued a bunch of times by credit card companies. 1 second. Let me send a quick thing. All right. So, sorry about that. So, all right. So here's a great question, right? This is from Pam. What? Guess they don't have enough to hold her on just yet. Pam, what they're holding her on has nothing to do with Melodee. It does have a little bit to do with Melodee, and I'll explain that in a second. But the charges have nothing to do with her daughter. The charges are not, you haven't told us where your daughter is. You're being held in contempt until you tell us. That's not happening right now. Okay. That is not what is happening right now. This is a case. So what happens is there's a guy that she knows, who's known her for years. Melodee's missing. He goes over to the house and tries to speak with her to figure out what's going on and where Melodee is. And during the course of that, she apparently stops him from leaving the house, according to him, using a box cutter to threaten him from leaving the house. That is the charge of false imprisonment. And that happened like a week ago. He went to her house like a week ago. So it's after Melodee's gone. So it has to do with Melodee because he's obviously fishing, trying to get some information. And he says afterwards, it's not a direct quote, but like, there's something wrong with her. She's not in her right mind. She clearly needs help. And she was saying things to me, but I don't know if what she was saying was true. So she may have provided some leads to him that he gave to police, but he's not talking publicly about it, about what specifically she said, other than his observations of her and the allegations of what she did in that moment. So that's the case. That's a false imprisonment case. Okay. I think it's third degree. Is that enough to hold you? Normally in a vacuum, no. But a lot of times in cases like this, all right, I understand we've got problems on Facebook. Maybe we're back on Facebook. I don't know. Looks like we got problems on Facebook. Nothing I can do about that. Sometimes a judge, will come up with a reason or set a number or say you're a danger. You're a danger to flee. You just drove to Nevada. You've been trying to rent cars. You used a dangerous weapon. So in that respect, the judge sometimes can set a bond that he or she knows the defendant likely will not make. This is someone who has no money. She had no money. That's part. I think that's one of the big stressors in her life is that she has no money to do anything, and she's taking care or was taking care of a child, homeschooling a child. So, looking at the situation inside the courtroom, do you hold her? Do you not hold her? You could potentially, there's going to be enough evidence to attempt to prosecute her of this. And it's the witness. It's the witness telling his story about what happened, right? All right. I don't know if Facebook is with us. We'll see. Anyhow, so now we're at a point where you have to figure out, what are we going to do here? What do we do? Do we hold her? And if we hold her, till when? And what sort of pressure can you apply to someone who is not mentally right? See, to me, again, it comes back to, this is not like your standard suspect. Some suspects could be pressured or negotiated with if they're of sound mind. But if you're not of 100% sound mind, and the whole reason that all this is happening is you perhaps are in one of these crazy, and crazy is the word, right? Delusions that are detached from reality, then it might be difficult to even negotiate, we'll drop this charge if you give us this information. Like, that may not even compute in her mind. What I was hoping, again, was that she would be compelled to get help. That once you're in custody in a jail or in an institution, you can evaluate her and perhaps remove her from the jail and put her into a mental hospital. Might be very helpful. Might be very helpful. Okay. I just want to put this up. Tika Nieder over on Twitch. Thanks for watching. I don't know a lot about this case. I have a hard time with crimes involving kids. The poor baby. Well, the facts are simple, but the basic story is simple. A mom goes on a 3-day trip with her daughter, returns without her daughter, and will not say anything about what happened to her. Period. She's a single mom. The dad passed away when the 9-year-old was 6 months. So no one else has any legal access or connection to the child, right? There's family members on her side and on the father's side, but they don't have legal standing. So that's made this case even more difficult. A lot of times you have a case like this, someone's not talking, you have another parent who is alive. Yes, you can compel things. Then you look at the Daybell case. They went down to Hawaii to serve her with papers from Idaho to produce those children. And that was a result of the grandparents calling up and saying, can you do a welfare check? Well, why don't they do that? I don't know why they're not doing that in California. The welfare check, compelled to produce. A judge enters an order. You don't follow the judge's order, you are in contempt. Once you're in contempt, the judge can put you in jail until you provide the information that is required. Period. That's what they did with Daybell. That's what they did with Daybell. And again, everyone could talk about, the pressure and this and that, how you're going to find Melodee. Do you think there's a better chance of finding Melodee if Ashlee is free or if Ashlee is locked up? If she's free, she will never get better. If she's locked up, I think there's at least a small chance that perhaps the prosecutor or her lawyer could order an evaluation. And based upon that evaluation, I think things would become pretty clear about there is something terribly wrong with her. Either that or she's completely sociopathically evil, which is not like mental illness. That's just like, Scott Peterson. That's what that is. All right. We've got Sandra Dieterman. Vinny, why aren't the police pushing her? They know she was the last person with her daughter. Why isn't she being charged with something? Great question. Great question. Again, getting a judicial order to me seems to be the best route in all of this. You may even be able to charge things like, child neglect. If you can't produce your child and you don't know where your child is, you're not feeding your child, you're not housing your child, that could be child neglect. Now, I always like to look at best case scenario here, right, Sandra? So best case scenario for me is she's connected to someone who she gave Melodee to, someone she can trust, someone who is like her, distrustful of the government or distrustful of whatever, and feels like they're protecting Melodee from something, right? Someone else in that same delusional state, but they're taking care of Melodee. I think that's possible. I mean, is it 50%? Probably not, but I think it's still possible under this situation and the facts that we're learning. And if that's the case, then you'd come back and then whatever charges were there would be dropped. But the charges, correct, Sandra, you can charge her with something. Drag her into court, get her evaluated. Hopefully she has a lawyer that's not just a public defender going through the motions, but one who says, oh, okay, there's more to this story. I can't even talk to her. She's not making sense to me. So we'll see if that happens. All right. Facebook may be down. I've got an alert here that Facebook is down. Facebook is saying audio went out again. Can you hear me, folks? You can hear me, right? I think Facebook went down. I think that was the main problem, but nice. David Anthony with the red, white, and green. All right. You can hear me now. That's good. All right. Audio's fine. Thank you, everyone. Okay. So tonight at 8, we're going to be talking a lot more about this on my show, Closing Arguments. And then at 9, we're going to take a deep dive into the trial we're covering on Court TV out of Vegas involving the former adult film star in that wild love triangle with the victim and the victim's son. Yeah, it's that kind of love triangle, folks. Adam Forever, we don't know. She's not right. We don't have her medical documentation. No, my guess is she's never been to get any help from a doctor, or recently has not. Adam, we are getting that from everyone who has interacted with her. That's who it's coming from. It's coming from her actions. It's coming from her mother, who talks about her history. And it's coming from people who've attempted to and have interacted with her. So it's not a medical evaluation, but, when you're speaking with someone who is not there, we all generally, we can't come up with a specific diagnosis, but we know there is something wrong. I mean, you can tell when something is terribly wrong with someone. If someone's a little off, you might not be able to. Things like depression and things like that you might not be able to pick up on. But when someone is, out there, I think we all know, using our common sense life experience. But there's no medical documentation. But there is information from her own mother and from others from the family who have interacted with her or attempted to interact with her recently. Thank you, Adam Forever 21. Forever 21. Could you imagine? All right, folks, while I have you here, wanted to let you know about the Tangent Christmas extravaganza that is coming up. And it's a big deal. It's on the 21st, Sunday night, the 21st, from 7 to 10. Mark your calendars, but we need your help. First, we've got a where's that? I gotta find it. One second. We've got a couple of contests. We've got a bunch of ways that you can win things, right? But one of the contests that we're having involves you sending photographs. Could be new, could be old. Doesn't matter to me. One second. And you're going to win. There's going to be great prizes, by the way. We've got the great merch shop. I've got some other prizes that we're handing out. Some really good stuff. Really good. But I wanted to let you know about the ugly sweater competition.
Send a photo of your sweater to the moths, old or new. The winner gets a prize during Tangent Christmas extravaganza 25. Old or new, send it to the moths. Send it to the moths. Tangent ugly sweater contest. Tangent ugly sweater contest. Send it to the moths.
All right, so we've got the Tangent Ugly Sweater Contest. Send your pictures to vinny'smods@gmail.com. Win an unbelievable prize. All part of the pageantry, the 21st of December, 7 to 10. 7 to 10, right here, streaming on my channel. If you look at this photo today, I have, this is the one with the arrow. That is her in court today. So once you get locked up, if you have a wig, you usually have to take the wig off. So she had the wig off so we can see what her natural hair looks like, confirming that what she was wearing at the car rental shop was in fact a wild wig. She also had a wig on her daughter, you see, to her left, screen right, with the gray hoodie on, 9-year-old Melodee. That's who we're looking for. So in the search, like, she could have switched wigs on the road also. She could have one wig at the car rental shop. She could be wearing a different wig while she's driving and, putting gas in or checking into a hotel or getting something to eat. If they even did check into a hotel, they could have been sleeping in the car. Could have switched wigs because she did switch license plates. And to me, that is very telling, right? She rented a car out of California, but she also had a set of New York plates that she put on there. So at some point, the white Malibu has California plates. At another point, it's got New York plates. So that's troubling. Investigators have narrowed everything down to the last 24 hours, where she is positively seen. They haven't released the video. Positively seen near the Utah-Colorado border on the Colorado side. Utah-Colorado border on the Colorado side. Okay, there's a town called Mack that's pretty close to there. The largest city close to there is Grand Junction, Colorado. So somewhere in that area, Melodee was seen with her mother. She gets home a day later. She's not seen. Now, there was also a report from a gas station in Junction, Utah, which is southwest Utah, close to the northern Arizona border, where someone said they saw the Malibu with California plates, and they saw Melodee, and they saw someone else in the car with a purple wig. They believed it was someone who was older, but obviously, I think, could be Melodee, because you put a wacky wig on a 9-year-old from a distance, could look like an adult in the car. But if not, then there's a third person involved in all of this, and that's very troubling if that's the case. Mm-hmm. Carolyn's starting late, but why doesn't the judge tell her she has to produce the child or go to jail like Lori Daybell? Sorry if this was already asked. No, but it's the obvious question. That's because there's been apparently no order served on her to produce the child. Like, you got to go into court and get the order first. So like CPS or someone has to go into court to get the order. And then law enforcement has to serve the order on her. And then once it's served, it usually has a deadline on it. The deadline passes, arrest warrant issued for contempt of court. That's the way that would work. But it hasn't happened. It doesn't look like they've taken step one. We thought they did, but they haven't, or they haven't enforced step one. Samantha, where is this? I wanted to get Samantha here. A lot of good comments. Samantha Lee, thank you so much. This case is so confusing and making me mad. She hasn't had to produce this beautiful little girl. I would argue it's baffling at this point. It's baffling as to why she hasn't had to. Because, I mean, we're over a month now. It's over a month, which is bizarre. Oh, Ashlee Buzzard, multitasking, burn her finger, cooking dinner. That's a little scary. It's a little scary. Of course, Ashlee Buzzard on YouTube right now, usually working the crowd over on Facebook, part of our incredible mod squad.
The mod squad, keeping order in the chat. The mod squad, spotting trolls who attack. Oh, Gen X is ready and on the scene. Frankie Figs making sure they're keeping it clean. Jennifer Sube telling haters don't be so mean. And Ashlee Buzzard on top of our Facebook screen. We are the mod squad, cleaning up the mess. The mod squad, simply the best. The mod squad.
Thank you to the mod squad. The song's just long enough so I can go upstairs and get something to drink. All right. So at this point, we'll have the latest, because we have folks who are in the courtroom today when Ashlee was set free out in Santa Barbara County, California. The town she lives in is called Lompoc. All right. I think this is Gen X with the brooms cleaning up the mess. Is that it? All right. All right. What are these things? These things that are walking. I can't tell what they are. And is that a what's the triangle? Is that a taco? I can't tell. Mm-hmm. All right, Samantha, wondering if that's another wig, the short hair. Well, it shouldn't be, because when you're in prison, when you're incarcerated, you're not allowed to wear them. Look at cupcakes is all annoying. All the extra stuff you do during your lives is unnecessary. That's why I skip most of your shows. It's very, well, what am I going to do? What can I do, cupcakes? What can I possibly do that would make you happy right now? What could I possibly do? Well, some of the extra stuff is like, give away prizes, have contests, pay tribute to the mod squad who works very hard inside the chat. Maybe doing a little promo for let people know where they can get the true crime merch, and also give myself time to run upstairs and get something to drink. I got to do everything here. There's nobody helping me. Who's helping me here in the studio? Mod Squad's helping me in the chat and with some other items, but like pushing buttons and getting video and everything else. All right. Kim Giddle sounds like she doesn't want you to be yourself. Keep doing you, Vinny. That's why we come. Yeah. It's part of the show. It's a different kind of show. This is not your grandma's podcast. Everybody has their own style, their own thing. I love music. For those of you who don't know, I was in the music business. I had a record label back in the 80s, early 90s. I also am a DJ, have been since the early 80s. As a matter of fact, I may be starting to DJ on TikTok. How about that? So, just try to combine everything that makes you who you are. All right, Jury Duty Pod, Kimberly B. Time to add more songs. Where's mine? Well, you see, songs, it's not willy-nilly getting a song, right? There has to be a motivational reason. And make sure you're part of the show, the Christmas show on December 21st, because that's one of the prizes we'll be handing out, is you get your own special theme song. And some of them are very, you can call them arbitrary, you can call them random, but something strikes me. Like anyone who creates stuff, you need inspiration. And I think the first person who inspired me, of course, was McSpunky. Like it was just that. It was, well, first the name, right? But the nice comments, but also that photo. It was like, we need a McSpunky song, and that's the way it happens. So, anyhow, you may get one. You may get one. Jury Duty Pod, Kimberly B. What rhymes with Jury Duty Pod, Kimberly B? Carolyn, what was your record label, Vinny? It was a Metropolitan Records. We did dance music. Dun, 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 dun. Dun, dun, dun. Yep. Well, you can't please everybody, so you got to please yourself. Okay. Any other news I have on this? So that's kind of setting the table. I'm gonna learn much more tonight during the show, 8:00 live on Court TV, about Melodee's mom. But the bottom line is she's no longer in custody. Where will she go? What will she do? She doesn't have money, but she does have a roof over her head. I don't know how she pays her rent. I don't know where it all comes from. It's very confusing to me. Her life is confusing. She's been sued 3 or 4 times by credit card companies, but they always end up dropping the suit because they're unable to serve her with the papers. She's very elusive. And you can see that from people showing up outside her house. So, hold on one second, folks. Okay. All right, folks. Whoa. All right. Oh, I'm running out of time. I gotta get ready for the show tonight. So we gotta wrap things up pretty quickly here. What else do we have? Oh, there is one other competition I need to tell you about this because it's important. We're gonna have for the Tangent podcast, we are crowning the Tangenista of the Year. And that's a big honor. It's a big honor. Tangenista of the Year for the Tangent True Crime Podcast. So here's some more details.
We're gonna crown the Tangenista of the Year. It could be a man, it could be a lady, but whoever it is, they got to be the greatest. The Tangenista of the Year. The Tangenista of the Year. The Tangenista of the Year.
All right, to enter, you can nominate yourself or someone else. Just send a video, 60 seconds or less. It could be 5 seconds, it could be 10 seconds, 15 seconds, doesn't matter. Just 60 seconds or less. Send it to vinny'smods at gmail.com and tell us who you're nominating, and make the pitch. Make the pitch, whatever it is. Be creative. There's no requirements. There's no preconceived notion of what the video should be. Just no nudity, because then I've got to pixelate things, and that takes time. I don't know if I have time to pixelate. So, and again, it's not a beauty contest. It is a Tangenista of the Year, whatever that means. And that will be either a man or a woman. A man or a woman. And we will be naming the first runner-up just in case the Tangenista for 2026 is unable to fulfill his or her obligations and duties. So that's where we are. So that's it, folks. One last thing we got to take care of here before we go. Cupcakes is just loving this show, by the way. Cupcakes is loving this. Cupcakes may get a song. I've been inspired. We're going to do a cupcake song. Remember, no guesses until the music starts. So any guess you make now will not count, ladies and gentlemen. Any guess that you make now will not count. But it's time to guess my blood sugar.
Is the type 1. He's type 1. His pancreas is on first. He has diabetes type 1 juvenile diabetes. And so it's time to guess, is more or less. What's his blood sugar? What's Vinny's blood sugar? Under 70, he gets lightheaded. Under 60, all the alarms start ringing. Over 180, he starts to get lethargic. But when it's 90, Vinny, eyes are singing. And so it's time to guess, is more or less. What's his blood sugar? What's Vinny's blood sugar? But take a guess. Yes, take a guess. Let's guess Vinny's blood sugar now.
Gen X with a big victory. There were like a bunch of people on 98. And I was like, oh, you guys are so close. You're so close. 98. I saw about 6 or 7 or 8 98s. And then finally, Gen X comes in. So I got to enter it here on my official sheet. Gen X with a 97 here on the 12th of, was it the 12th of November? All right, that'll wrap things up. I got a big show tonight on Court TV, your front row seat to justice. 8 o'clock, we're going to talk about Melodee and Ashlee Buzzard. You'll see what happened inside the courtroom. We'll get more information from our folks on the ground out there, which is awesome. We will also then at 9 o'clock dive into this trial on Court TV. It's a love triangle, fatal love triangle involving adult film star, a man and his son, 2 young children, 2 tween daughters. It's off the charts, this one. So we'll dive into all of that. And that's it for me. So thank you so much. I know it had to be short, but I'm glad I had time just to touch base on this story. And I hope more people will start talking about this story, because this girl could be in California. She could be in Nevada. She could be in Arizona. She could be in Utah. And she could be anywhere else, because she's been missing for more than a month now. And I do believe there is a chance that she could be alive. So thanks so much to everybody. Thanks to the Mod Squad. Thanks for the super chats. Great conversation. I am Vinny Politan, and I'll see you tonight at what time? 8 o'clock on Court TV. In the meantime, please don't forget to hug the kids. Cupcake, another song.
Say goodbye. Thank you for watching Vinny Live. We'll be back, but I don't know when. We hope that you will watch again. Vinny Live. It's Vinny Live. Whoa, it's Vinny Live. To our awesome mods. Thank you for those super chats. Please hit the like and do subscribe. Let's do it again on Vinny Live. Now before you go, just one more thing. Please post below, say anything. It's Vinny Live. Whoa, just one more thing. Please post below. Say anything, Thank you, God bless you. We'll see you again. We'll see you again.